Let's see if we can help her, shall we? And by helping her, maybe you can learn some things that will help you stay safe at Halloween.
Hello, today I am back with another video. This time I am talking about my favorite thing about each of the puppet combo killers. I also wanted to start off this video by saying Happy October. I really wanted to try and ramp up the content in October. I'm still finding my footing for my channel, so I experiment a lot with the way I edit things and format my videos, so these next few videos might be something new that the channel hasn't seen before. Starting with the killer that I'm pretty unsure how I feel about, it's the Driller Killer. The Driller Killer is one of the older puppet combo killers, and while none of the puppet combo killers really talk besides Tom, I find myself having a hard time picking out my favorite thing about each of the killers with less of a personality. Nonetheless though, if I had to pick something about the Driller Killer to be my favorite thing about the character, I would probably say his aura. The Driller Killer has absolute rotten, evil, no good, very bad, malicious aura about him that makes me think like, damn, I really can't even mess with this dude. Like, I never have beaten Power Drill Massacre simply because of the horrifying sound of the Driller Killer running up to you when you play the game. It's also horrifying not knowing the layout of the Brendan Sawmill and getting absolutely destroyed because of it. Like, the first time I ever played, I ran into Sugar Tunnel and immediately ran to the part that says surprise, and then hearing those loud, ominous footsteps bolting towards my exact location, and then being paralyzed with fear is all I remember. The Driller Killer is a unit though, and you can't even really step to him. Plug. Next up is the Meat Cleaver Mutilator, who really, again, I don't have a lot to say about. I think more or less the Meat Cleaver Mutilator is just a fursona of the Driller Killer. Deku, you can call me Deku. I don't know if that's a hot take, but there are probably about 2 Meat Cleaver Mutilator fans out there, so I'm sorry if you guys are not pressed. If I had to pick something that I like about them though, I guess I like the way that the Meat Cleaver Mutilator's eyes kind of light up like in Dead by Daylight with the red stain, you know? Like, it gives it a good aura when you're in a chase and all you see is like the red eye stain. The next killer is Larry. Now, Larry is everyone's favorite Santa impersonator, but unfortunately for Larry, it is not that season yet, so maybe he'll get his own video closer to December. As much as Larry looks like Santa though, that man is not Santa. I think my favorite thing about Larry is his intense and violent schizophrenia. Playing Christmas Massacre and having those intervals where things absolutely off-the-wall bonkers happen were some of my favorite parts of the game. And this was really just because, as fun as it was just going crazy in the levels, I liked the idea that Larry wasn't just a blank slate, and was actually just an insanely damaged person on the inside.
But first, you must kill. Go back to where everything started and kill. Burn down the school.
A side note with that is that this is something I like about the CFV not being involved in every single puppet combo game. Because some killers are with the CFV and directly involved with it, while others like Larry are too unstable and cannot be trusted to follow the work of anybody besides themselves. And that's kind of how I think of Larry. He's the solo operator that no one has heard of, that is absolutely off the wall and is unmatched in his potential in the games. So, the next killer I'm going to be talking about is Dylan Miller. Dylan is the kind of killer that could very well be real, not when it comes to certain aspects of his character. Yes, I am legally obligated to mention him surviving a house fire as a baby with no help every time I talk about him. Aside from all this, however, I really do like certain aspects of this character. Specifically, his soulless face. This is something you might hear a lot from me in this video, so if I can expand on more points than just character design, I will. But for some of these games, when you have a good character design, damn, is it hard to not sit and gawk at. Like, bro, I was unfamiliar with your game. I didn't realize you had that shit on. Moving on to Nun Massacre, I don't really like this feller. I know, I'm sorry, but I was just never really a big fan of the nun. She's so loud and she's just cruel, and not even in a cool way. She's just like crazy vulgar. And if I had to choose my favorite thing about the nun, I'd probably say the way she doesn't care about anything. I know I always disappoint when it comes to The Nun, but I've never really cared about nuns. Like, the first 4 times I tried to watch the movie The Nun, I fell asleep, and then I watched the sequel, and then I fell asleep again trying to watch it. Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa, on the other hand, is a certified banger.
Santa is coming to your house. Stay away, or he'll have to kill you. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Evil Santa.
I've always loved Christmas horror games, which is a bit of the part why I like Larry as much as I do. And if anything, I think Halloween isn't even the best time for Halloween. Like, walking out in the snow while it's gloomy and all the trees are dead is so much scarier than being like, oh no, it's 74 degrees outside with a slight breeze and pretty weather. I'm horrified. Winter is much scarier than fall, and I will die on that hill. But anyways, there is something special about Santa from the Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa, and if I had to pick my favorite thing about Santa, I would say his murder weapon. I like the idea of Santa just losing his mind one day and running around killing people with an axe. He probably got tired of kids asking for Behavior Interactive to fix Dead by Daylight.
Pow!
The next entry is one of the 2 games that I have a very soft spot for in my heart, with that game being Blood Wash. The Womb Ripper from Blood Wash is one of the most lore-intensive killers in a non-puppet combo made game. If I had to pick something to be my favorite thing about the Womb Ripper, I think I would say her superhuman feats and immortality. The Womb Ripper is such a scary killer just because of the inevitability of having to face her. Like, I remember my first blind playthrough of Blood Wash, and then being like, oh, there's a killer that kills pregnant women, that's cool. It's a good thing I'm just a white boy with a little bit of exaggerated swagger. Except for I wasn't a white boy with a little bit of exaggerated swagger. I was the pregnant woman. Wow, I never thought I'd have to say that in my life. Next killer is a killer who is an absolute menace, with that killer being Nicholas Burr from both Babysitter Bloodbath and the Babysitter Bloodbath young adult novel. Nicholas Burr is especially scary once you read the novelization of Babysitter Bloodbath because he is a sick, sadistic, Michael Myers-like killer who really couldn't care less about anything except for making people suffer. I'm pretty sure Nicholas Burr had to suffer some sort of mind-altering brain damage because one day he just came home and killed his entire family, including his newborn baby. Which is what the heliante? But if I had to pick my favorite aspect of Nicholas Burr's character, I would probably say his correlation to Michael Myers. And in the book, there's an extended part of what I believe is in the game, and it's just Nicholas Burr calling the protagonist Sarah on the phone and saying all this wackadoodle stuff about hell or something. One of my favorite games next, Murder House. The Easter Ripper from Murder House is a phenomenal killer. Tom Smith, aka the Easter Ripper, aka that shitty cameraman, is the main protagonist of Puppet Combo's Murder House.
Tom, I didn't think I would find you. This is getting weird. Do you think the Easter Ripper is back?
Stupid.
And as you all know, the Easter Ripper has one of the greatest killer designs out of any Puppet Combo killer. I don't care what y'all gotta say. The Easter Ripper hits a certain niche of horror that very many have dared to go to. With that being the uncanny valley and the way that we all hated the way adults looked in Easter Bunny costumes as children. Along with all the other praises I sing for this killer, I would also like to say that I love that this killer actually has voice acting and says literally anything. There is nothing better than a good killer motif. Imagine if Billy actually went on insane monologues to people before killing them about the greater cause and the Sea of V and all that stuff. 100 Years Rick and Morty and all that, you know what I mean? Moving forward, we have the Night Ripper. One of the coolest things about the Night Ripper is his name, but that's not my favorite thing. My favorite thing about the Night Ripper is that he has a choice victim, which is relatable to real life and the 4 types of serial killers, which I think is pretty cool. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of the unique and cool way the Night Ripper's character design looks. Yeah, I get that you like killing a certain type of people, but why the hell are you making duck noises and dressed like a yellow duck? The atmosphere of this game is done so well as well. Like, I can believe that if I was anywhere on the planet being chased by someone dressed like a duck, it would be here. Now, the man, the myth, the bunker monster feeder, the butcher. The butcher is most likely the most loved killer by Puppet Combo, and is what is considered the peak creation. Stay Out of the House itself has so many things that are great about it. The endings, the lore, the character design, the vibe, the map layout, the weird baby thing in the vents that always bugs me that no one even talks about in the Puppet Combo community ever. Put that thing on an iceberg. Anyways, the butcher. My favorite thing about the butcher is his massive connection with the CFV. This is specifically because he's one of the 2 killers who is directly tied to the most important cult in the entire Puppet Combo franchise, second with his connection only to Billy from Feed Me Billy. Again, the butcher does have a great character design reminiscent of Part 2 Jason Voorhees, but 10 times more metal and 10 times cooler. Coming next is a really goofy killer, with that being the Cheek Freak from the Booty Cheek Creek Freak. Fun fact, this is the first time this killer has ever been mentioned on this channel because I hate him. Also, this is the game where I share the name of the protagonist and he's goofy as hell. But if I had to say something nice about the Cheek Freak, I guess it's funny that he can turn into a car. Aww. Next up is a more recent killer, with that one being the Ding Dong Ditcher Ripper. Before I say anything about the Ditcher Ripper, would you believe that he is one of the killers that is directly inspired by Michael Myers with his own Sam Loomis-like doctor? I like how cool the Ding Dong Ditcher Ripper looks, but coming back to kill your little brother, man, not cool. I guess the only thing I really like about the Ditcher Ripper is his character design. I'm sorry to the Ditcher Ripper fans. I hate saying similar things like I'm sorry to insert relatively niche killer in the Puppet Combo community / Torture Star Universe killer fans. But, I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. You know what I mean? Also, side note, now that we are a couple minutes later in the video, maybe, I don't know, I'm not really keeping track. It took me a million years to do the night shift abductor take, and I kept eating my words over and over, and I'm so embarrassed about it. But, anyways, I have a confession to make. I am not a real cannibal abduction enthusiast. Get out! I know, I'm sorry everyone. It's not that I necessarily don't like Cannibal Abduction, it just released during a very busy time in my life and I haven't went back to play it. I can't give a real professional opinion on Cannibal Abduction's killer, but if the guy on the cover art is the killer, I like the character design. Like most others. I just wanted to do a better job of having a fuller / closest to full list that I could. 1, for longer content, and 2, I don't want to be making subpar content knowing I could take a couple minutes and make this video way better than it would have been. So by the end, I want this to be my best produced video yet, and if you like it, please consider subscribing and following the channel. I'm a small channel, so if you want to leave a comment or anything else, I'd like to hear what you have to say. And if you have a topic or something you'd like to hear, just comment it below. I'm, again, very small, so there's a good chance that I would actually take a second and look into the topic, and if I liked it, I'd talk about it. Now, I want to talk about Slaw from Rewind or Die. The best thing about Slaw is the soundtrack that plays when he chases you. But aside from that, I really like that Slaw has a boss fight where you actually have to invest and try. Rewind or Die as a whole is a very different Torture Star universe experience, and it makes sense because the creator is not Puppet Combo or Black Eyed Priest. But nonetheless, I really like the vibe that Rewind or Die brings to the community, as well as Slaw himself. Also, is Slaw not like the most badass name ever? Like, imagine how less cool Slaw would be if he was named Pubert or something. Now is for my personal favorite killer on this entire list, Billy. The lamest thing about Billy is his name, but even then it kind of brings like a grunge feeling to the character. Again, imagine if Billy was named Steven.
Steven here.
Billy has some of the coolest lore in all of Puppet Combo and is hands down the GOAT. If Puppet Combo ever made a Feed Me Billy movie and I was not Billy, I would not be in a world that I wouldn't exist in. But then again, I am like 5'6", short kings rise. My favorite thing about Billy, though, is his callous and cold demeanor towards the world. Billy truly could not care less about what anyone has to think, And this is because he is probably going to abduct you and feed you to the hole in his closet. If Billy randomly chooses to pull up on you and your friends when you're having a fun outing and you can finally get time off work together, it's over. Like, it's beyond over. Like, you know how people just go missing one day and they're just never found, and they've been missing since like 1969 at the age of like 12? That's gonna be you, bro.
I think it's time that we all start to just consider the other possibility.
They're never gonna find you. A matter of fact, bro, this, like, I was done talking about him, but like, you were gonna be in a Wendigoon video. That is how cooked you're gonna be, bro. Dr. Edward Sullivan from The Glass Staircase is an interesting character. To make this short, as I am not super big on The Glass Staircase, my favorite thing about Dr. Edward Sullivan is his backstory. Dude was a field medic just doing his thing, and then one day became totally evil and totally malicious for like no apparent reason. Well, the reason was PTSD-induced insanity, but I mean, come on, man. My alcoholic great-grandpa was a war vet, and the only thing he did was pull out a shotgun and rant when he got mad. Day 7. Day 7 is truly a masterpiece of a horror game that is ahead of its time in backrooms horror. Most backrooms horror is you're not alone, and while you do get your fix on that in this game, you also get the sense that being alone is the scariest thing that could happen in the backrooms. This game tackles the idea that humans as a whole are the monster, and no matter how noble and kind you are in the beginning, anyone can be driven to become a feral person. This brings me to Terrence. The best thing about Terrence is how he is a blank slate, yet he has personality. But in a way, he is a cautious tale about humans and their need to be social creatures. Getting closer to the end now, we have the... Wait. I want you guys to know before I say anything, this will include spoilers for No One Lives Under the Lighthouse. And yes, every entry is a spoiler, but seriously, if you have not played No One Lives Under the Lighthouse, you are missing out. So please pause the video, go play it, and come back. Or just skip it if you don't want spoiled. This part at least. So, talking about the monster from No One Lives Under the Lighthouse. The thing is so freaking cool, and I have so many things that I like about it. Its eldritch horror aspect, its hellish domain, its design, its chases, it's all great. Like, one time me and my friends were hanging out and killing time, and I made my one friend do a blind playthrough of this game at a hangout just to see his reaction. And when I tell you No One Lives Under the Lighthouse is a party game, I mean it. But seriously, the monster from this game is peak character design, and if I had to pick a definitive favorite thing about it, I would say the build up this monster gives, and the way it lurks in the shadows until it eventually strikes. Very few people have as much power as this next killer, who I guess isn't really much of a killer as much as he is a crazy powerful cultist, with that character being Father Friedstein from Night at the Gates of Hell. My favorite thing about this guy is that he's kind of a weakling who just got really lucky, kind of like, spoilers for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Poochie, who successfully pulled off the Heaven Plan. Second to last killer now. This guy is definitely niche, but it is the Chainsaw Killer from Buzzsaw Bloodhouse. I want to start by talking about Buzzsaw Bloodhouse in general, as this killer is rather one-dimensional if you don't mention the entire game, because that's basically what preludes him. The Chainsaw Killer is basically the guy who abducts the girls in Buzzsaw Bloodhouse and makes them participate in these sick messed up games with comically large chainsaws coming from the walls. To answer what I like about the Chainsaw Killer, I would have to say his audience. I like the Chainsaw Killer is a social killer, you know what I mean? And he tries to connect with the world around him as opposed to trying to hide himself from the world. Lastly, is one of the newest killers in the universe of games, with that killer being the Sniper Killer. The Sniper Killer is a cool guy who just nonchalantly kills some peeps. I really don't have much to say about this guy, but I like the dude nonetheless, and if I had to pick a favorite thing about him, I would say the fact that he doesn't ask questions. The Sniper Killer would hat-trick a whole neighborhood at the drop of a penny. This was a long video, but a fun one to make. I'm happy to be back making videos, and I want to drop a couple on October. If you've watched this far, please subscribe. I am considered elite ball knowledge, and if you want, you can join my Discord in my channel description. It's pretty dead, so you can also participate in the elite ball knowledge of that. Anyways, Please like, subscribe, give any questions, comments, or concerns below, and I will see you guys later this month.